Hello, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mike.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we're taking a long, hard look at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of the 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
Welcome back. Mike and I are back in the saddle here to take on another movie. This time around, we're going to talk about 1986's Big Trouble in Little China. Directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell, a couple of frequent collaborators. It's like, what would you call it? A supernatural kung fu?
Yeah, it's a supernatural, mystic, kung fu, western wannabe.
Comedy,
buddy, cop flick.
It's got a little something for everybody,
yeah.
I think. So this is our first episode. We're going to be talking about the opening scene of the movie where Shin is in the lawyer's office talking about what happened, all the way up through Jack and Wang riding the Pork Chop Express to the airport.
In a hurry.
In a hurry, yeah. So as I just said, scene opens. They're in the lawyer's office. We don't know who anybody is at this point, but there's an old white dude. I recognize him from the X-Files.
Jerry Harden, I believe
he was
his name.
Deep Throat from the X-Files, and he's talking to Shin, elderly Chinese man, basically sort of telling us everything that happened in the movie. Like, how do you feel about that?
So they filmed that scene last. So
right.
We learned that recently.
So the studio guy, the head of Fox or whatever, demanded that they add another scene after they'd finished shooting everything already. Basically, I think that they were concerned that Jack Burton, the lead, the Kurt Russell character, like, he wasn't heroic enough character. So they basically added a scene just with someone talking about how heroic he is.
Yeah, so
right?
at the very end of the movie, I guess the studio heads got together and were like, we don't think that we're selling this movie correctly. Let's go back and film this one scene to make Jack Burton seem like he's a more of a hero than he already is.
Like, to me, the whole kind of gag of the movie is that he's not that heroic. Or, I mean, he's heroic, he's brave and all, but he's kind of also a goof.
Yeah, he's not an anti-hero, but he's
a do-gooder, but he's like incompetent.
So there's this movie called Shakiest Gun in the West starring Don Knotts, and he's kind of like this. He's the hero of the movie, but he doesn't mean to be, like, and that's totally what Jack Burton is. Like, Jack is the hero of the film,
like accidentally saving the day.
But totally is not meant to be. It's not like his intention. Like, he's heroic in his actions. Like, he's got the charisma, the charm, the courage to be a hero. But it's not his intention to be a hero.
And but he sort of also, he doesn't have like the wherewithal to back it up. You know, like, he's brave and he talks a big game, but he's also sort of not up to the challenge. Like,
a little clueless.
Well, and they say on the commentary, like, that the premise was that this guy doesn't realize that he's not the hero. Like, he thinks he's the hero, but he's actually the sidekick.
Yeah.
Which I love that. But I mean, really, Shin is kind of, he's just telling us, like, most of the plot points of the movie. Like, you know, how do you feel weird when a movie sort of tells you the ending before the movie starts?
No, I feel like this whole scene is kind of like an appetizer to a dinner. So he talks, Shin and the lawyer talk about how the lawyer especially, he talks about how there was this giant green explosion that basically leveled like a whole city block in Chinatown. And so to the viewer, you're like, whoa, I really went, like, this is like 5 seconds into the movie and we're always talking about this giant green explosion. So it's like, oh, well, I know that at some point we're going to see this. Yeah. So it's kind of like it's drawing the viewer into like this this fantasy,
that's like the
giant
hook.
Story.
That's like the hook.
Yeah, it's like, it's the bait. They're hooking you in.
I think it's also interesting that they ask him what he does, and he says he drives a tour bus, which doesn't seem like, how does a tour bus driver get mixed up in all the excitement?
Yeah, well, I know that they're in Chinatown, so I don't know if like tour buses are like, if we were like go to Chinatown right now, are you going to see like just a ton of tour buses, or was it like a thing back in '86?
I went to San Francisco a couple years ago, and man, it's awesome city.
Really?
But we went to Chinatown, but we went kind of early in the morning, so it might not have been the time that you'd see the most tourists milling around there. But awesome place to go. Highly recommend Chinatown, San Francisco.
I have no idea why they made Egg Shin a tour bus driver, but it kind of works though.
Yeah, I love the tour bus with all the Chinese characters and stuff on it. Like, it's really great.
There's got to be like a deeper existential meaning to that, where it's like he's a tour bus driver, guide, but he's like more of a spiritual guide. Yeah, there was one of those deep meanings that they wrote into the screenplay that none of us really got.
Yeah, but at any rate, Egg, like, he gets really fired up defending Jack Burton. He's like, "You leave Jack Burton alone," or whatever it is, and he's like explaining that they're all in Jack's debt, which all of that is like, once we see how the movie plays out, that's kind of like maybe halfway accurate. Like, he didn't single-handedly save anything.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah.
But then the lawyer asks Egg if he really believes in all this magic talk and monsters and sorcery or whatever, and like Egg sort of shows him some magic, like he raises his two hands up and this like flash of lightning, like kind of like the Emperor from Star Wars, like kind of bouncing back and forth between his hands. Yeah. It's kind of awesome though.
I know. I thought it was kind of cool that I don't know if they did this on purpose, but the lawyer actually puts his hands out in the same way. It's like, "Hey, do you really believe in this?" And then Eggshin's like, and he raises his hand slowly, and he has this lightning that shoots between his hands. He's like, "Yeah, I guess I do."
I think the lawyer had to be convinced.
Yeah.
After that.
Well, it was weird because the lawyer and there was a stenographer right behind Egg Shin. Neither one of them like jumped out of their seat. Like, I wonder if that would have been more impactful to that scene if he had done that and they both like were like, "What?"
Maybe it's one of those things where like it's so mind blowing that you're sort of stunned after. I don't know, but
possibly.
Like, there's a great movie called The Prestige, a Christopher Nolan magic movie, and they're talking about the best magic trick ever, and they're like, it happened so fast that no one in the audience reacted the first time because they didn't realize what they had just seen. I don't know if something like that could be at play.
I can see that.
But I do think like the bit with the lightning and all the talk about the green flames, which they mentioned green flames like 2 to 3 times in that conversation, all of it I think is sort of letting you, the audience, know that like you're going to be in for a wild ride on this movie. Like you can just check all those like real world expectations at the door, Yeah,
I love that when they give you that taste of like supernatural, because when you walk in, you're like, and they give it to you so early in the movie. Like, it's not like they hint towards it. They actually show the guy shooting lightning between his hands, and you're like, well, you're right. Like we're in for some kind of a crazy ride here.
Like, I sort of feel like the last movie we did was Predator, the first movie of the podcast, and I felt like on Predator they went out of their way to like establish that it was like a real world setting, like make the fighting and the like stuff as realistic as possible, all the lingo and the talk and stuff like that, and everything seems like you establish that real world and then you drop an alien into the mix. But like on this movie, I feel like they just sort of tell the audience, like, hang on, this is going to be a fun time that you're about to have. Like, honestly, it reminded me a little bit of the second Austin Powers movie where they go back in time or whatever, and like they just look directly in the camera and they're like, now don't think too hard about all this time travel stuff. Just sit back and enjoy yourself.
Well, the funny part is that considering this movie was directed by John Carpenter, starred Kurt Russell, and had like a lot of like karate, martial arts in it, like a lot of violent scenes in it. This is almost like a family film. Like I think
it was PG rated.
I think it might have been PG-13, but it still was like I could see me taking my kids to this movie, like kind of like an old school, like the old kind of popcorn flick. Yeah. You're just on a Saturday afternoon, like let's go out and have a good time. This is that movie.
It's not too dark. Like even though it's got some dark subject matter, they always kind of have tongue in cheek about it. Yeah. A
lot of humor in this film.
Yeah, and like. Honestly, I mean, I love this movie, but like if we're being honest, the movie is kind of a crazy, batshit crazy movie. It
is.
Like it's crazy, and it's unashamed of how crazy it is, which makes it lovable.
It's not like Wicker Man crazy.
which Wicker Man? Nick Cage?
Yeah, Nick Cage. Like I have no idea what's going on in this. Like, what's the guy who does all the body morphing stuff? Cronenberg. It's not like a crazy Cronenberg, like, or no, not Cronenberg. Who did Mulholland Drive? David Lynch. It's not like a crazy David Lynch film or anything like that. It's definitely,
it's a story you can follow, but it also is just like, there's like plot holes galore. Like a lot of stuff is there just for laughs. And, you know what I mean? Like, they're just like blowing people away and kind of laughing about it after. Like, it's no big deal. It
is a fun 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon. You got nothing else to do, and you want to see a beer, and you want to watch a good film. This is exactly what this is like, an American film, like, even though it's like based all in like Chinese mythology and lore.
And honestly, it's like an Eastern Western, you know. It's like a Western Eastern. I don't know. It's like a Western sort of Western themes.
Yeah.
But with a Far East sort of spin to it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that gets us through like what we could call maybe the cold open of the movie, because then it sort of starts rolling the opening credits and the theme music comes up, and we get our like actual entrance of the hero.
So after the Shin and the lawyer part, we get to the real introduction of the film, and this is where Jack Burton is driving the Pork Chop Express down the road, and he's headed towards Chinatown. Now, the interesting part about this whole scene is that when this movie was originally written, it was written as a Western, like the 1880s Western,
like old West Western.
Yeah, and the Jack Burton was supposed to be riding a horse into town instead of like driving a truck, but the directors, or I guess the studio, weren't really feeling like an old Western type movie. It still had all the Chinese mysticism and lore attached to it, but they weren't feeling like the old Western part. So they brought in this guy, his name is W.D. Richter, who directed The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. And he did like this complete rewrite of the script. When Jack was doing all the talking on the CB, I think he was doing a lot of foreshadowing of the movie, because there's one thing that really sticks out in my mind that he says, and he's talking about, and I forget exactly how he says it, but he's like, when you're facing down this 8-foot dude and he's got you down and something. It's like
he might even say like a wild-eyed monster.
Yeah, he says something like that. Like, just look him in the face and, grab life by the balls, or I don't know, whatever he says. But I think there's probably a lot of sayings in that CB rant that he had that kind of foreshadow the actions of the film.
That is kind of like a cowboy, like a solitary existence. You're out on your own on the open road or whatever, and all that stuff. And man, I mean, he's like spitting some game on the CB radio. Like he's got the one-liners, he's telling jokes just to whoever's listening. Right? It's like,
I don't know. I don't have that many Mike-isms, if you will. But like, this dude was just, you're right. He was just spewing.
He had jokes.
He was just spewing one-liners. And I
love that. Have you paid your dues? You look him right in the eye and you tell him the check is in the mail.
Like,
such a great
that
line.
sounds like, and the funny part is that Jack Burton's relatively young in this scene. That sounds like something that like an old wizened man would say, like, somebody in their 80s is sitting out on their front porch and talking to the kids while drinking sweet tea, is telling the little kids like, hey, when you're doing this, to make sure you do that type stuff. That
had to all that stuff had to be new for the rewrite of the movie, obviously. Like, he's not riding on a horse and saying all that. So I mean, this dude W.D. Richter is a pretty funny guy.
Yeah,
first of all.
Yeah, and if you've ever seen Buckaroo Banzai, you can really see the correlation between that movie and this movie.
So I'm thinking, like, I've seen some quotes from the original screenwriters where they're just kind of like, "Oh, we had no clue." Like, they grabbed the screenplay, they liked it. We had no clue that they were rewriting it. Like, they didn't involve us in that process at all. And one of those screenwriters at least described the whole process as bizarre and unfair. Like, so I guess there was a little bitterness from those guys feeling. I mean, I get that it's your baby and you sort of got cut out of the loop.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the original screenwriters they gave the script, and I think this might have been their first screenplay.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure what their names are, but this might have been their first screenplay. So they wrote this screenplay and they gave it to a studio, and the studio was like, "Oh, we like the bones of this story, but we don't like all the aesthetics." So here comes the studio heads, here comes John Carpenter, here comes the rewrites. They modernized the film, and what they tried to do was they tried to distance themselves from the original screenwriters, like they didn't even want to give them screen credit for this movie. They wanted to give all the screen credit to W.D. Richter.
That's cold. And what, like story by the other guys or something?
I don't even
like
know if they were going to give them that much credit for this.
Wow.
But I think, you know how the Academy is. They're really strict with their rules. And so they had to say that the guys wrote the film and then W.D. Richter adapted from their screenplay.
I did not know that. I do know like one of the original writers, Gary Goldman, said that like their version, the tone of it was more like an Indiana Jones, like big epic old period piece, a lot of horseback and adventure and all that stuff, but also with the sort of mysticism or supernatural elements to it. But then they sort of just took it and sort of jumbled it into something like just weird and campy. I always think it's interesting when somebody takes like a screenplay and completely rework the screenplay. I'm like, how did you get from A to B in this screenplay? That's just the really, you have to applaud the creativity of taking a Western and saying, you know what, let's update it, let's make it 100 years later and keep it in Chinatown and all that, and like just update the stuff that we need to modern it up.
Well, in our when we were talking about Predator, we were discussing some movies, like some top 10 movies or something like that, and we were talking about how Star Wars was labeled a Western. And I still don't see it, but
that's almost more of a reach to me than thinking of Big Trouble in Little China as a Western.
I guess if you take the elements of a story, like if you take the elements of The Godfather and then you put them in a blaxploitation movie or whatever, like, or you put them in a karate film, or you put them in R2D2, like as the Godfather. I don't know, whatever you do, like I can.
No, Jabba the Hutt is the Godfather.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, that would be good. Jabba the Hutt as the Godfather. I would watch that film right there. So you take these elements of a particular genre, and then you just kind of like window dressing as everything else, And really, I took in college in Georgia State University, I took a genre class on Westerns, which was just the genre that they were offering that semester. But so we talked about a lot of the Western themes and how modern movies like still use those themes, where it's like the loner comes to town and saves the town in trouble, and that sort of makes sense for Big Trouble in Little China. I wrote a term paper or something about Beverly Hills Cop as a Western, because it's like the outsider rolls into town and shakes things up, I can see that.
Or whatever. Yeah. Absolutely. But Star Wars, I don't know if I can see it.
I don't get it either. I don't see it at all.
I'll have to check it out again when I get home.
But I've seen several people say that.
But yeah, so, I mean, Jack Burton is like such a character right off the bat. He's dropping all the great one-liners. He's cruising along, he pulls the Pork Chop Express, which we learned only in research. I never knew before. The Pork Chop Express, the name of it is a reference to, I guess, that he takes pigs to market.
He's actually hauling pigs.
And I think in the Western screenplay, he also was bringing pigs, like a cart of pigs to the town to feed the railroad workers.
That would have been even more interesting, because that would have been like 1880. So there would have been the smell of the pigs.
Yeah.
I'm all about smell in movies. Like, they need to figure out a way to portray that better.
So, but it's like a dark and stormy night in Chinatown, and it's like bustling there, though. It's pouring rain. You see, I think, at least one single shot where they take a pig off the truck. Which I never even noticed on the first dozen times, that I've seen the movie. Yeah. And that didn't put the pork chop together with the pig.
I've never been to San Francisco, but it's my understanding that it rains there a lot because they're right off the bay. Yeah. So I can kind of see the weather being like that.
It's just unpredictable weather. Changes like minute by minute.
Now, interesting note, John Carpenter is in this scene.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, John Carpenter is right when it turns into daytime.
Okay.
John Carpenter is the guy that's pushing like a tray of like produce or something. He's that guy that's pushing that stuff along.
I didn't even know that. It's like his Hitchcock cameo.
Yeah, he's like making his cameo. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool, man. I also noticed I love the front of the Pork Chop Express. He's got that hauling ass grill like piece on with like the silhouette of a sexy woman.
Yeah.
It's just like this dude is a character. Like we can tell. Like I mean, as maybe a lot of truckers are.
Very symbolic of the 80s. Like the mother trucker and all that.
Oh yeah.
And keep on trucking.
Oh man, I loved Over the Top, the Stallone arm wrestling movie where they're all truckers or whatever.
That is a good bad movie.
That's a good bad movie. We may have to check that one out. So then cut to Jack is involved in some sort of gambling game with like a whole bunch of Chinese guys. And he's winning, you know?
Yeah, winning big.
Like they're playing, I guess they're playing Pai Gow, they said, which is, I don't know if that's like dominoes or some kind of a tile game.
I feel like it's
like pieces over and whatever, but I have no idea what that is. But
from what I've seen, it looks like a combination of dominoes and poker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have no idea how to play that game.
We'll have to have someone, if you know what it is, email us.
Yeah, seriously.
But Jack Burton in this scene, like, so we've seen him, he's talking the talk. Now he's here and he's like winning. He's like winning every hand. To me, he almost comes off as like a James Bond, like, I'm the best at everything, like type of a guy at this point.
I was gonna say he kind of comes off like a sailor on shore leave.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like he's on shore, like he's got his money in his hand and he's on shore and he's like, okay, I'm gonna gamble it all away and I'm gonna drink everything and if they probably didn't show this, but I'm gonna get a couple of prostitutes like later on if the story didn't go that way.
Right. So we got like some time passes and the sun's coming up, it's getting light out, and Jack's basically like cleaned everybody out.
Yeah.
He's got all the money, still on the hot streak, and
last two standing.
He's complaining, that the guys are bowing out, and he's like, "Well, I gotta, I probably would have lost my shirt in the next 5 minutes."
Yeah.
Like trying to talk him back to the table. So Jack is left with just himself and his friend Wang, who's played by Dennis Dunn. But it wasn't always supposed to be that way, right, Mike?
No, I think so. I just found this out. I think today that character that Dennis Dunn played, Wang, was supposed to be played by Jackie Chan. Now, I would have loved to have seen Jackie Chan play this film for several reasons, because we had discussed, and you told me that Dennis Dunn wasn't really a martial artist. He was kind of more of an actor that learned martial arts.
Yeah, he claimed like he knew how to fake it a little bit, but he wasn't like a trained, karate guy or kung fu guy or whatever like that.
So can you, this is such a heavily influenced a kung fu movie that I would have loved to have seen Jackie Chan play that role for later scenes. We don't get to that till later, but knowing what we know, I would have loved to have seen Jackie. And Jackie
absolutely.
Chan's also got that kind of comedic timing that is just perfect for this movie. But I think the problem was that Jackie Chan didn't have a lot of confidence in himself as far as making American films. I think he had made a couple. I think he had made like Cannonball Run, which wasn't a huge success, and I think he might have made some other stuff, but they weren't really successful. And I think he was offered the role and he turned it down because he's like, no, I really want to hone my craft back home. So he made other films back home,
hits.
Big, like huge hits over there, and then he came back and with Rumble in the Bronx, which really catapulted him to the start he is today.
Yeah, I haven't really seen that many Jackie Chan movies. I've seen maybe a Rush Hour for sure,
really,
which he is like quite funny.
You should see
and I think maybe the sequel Rush Hour 2, but I haven't seen like Rumble in the Bronx or those the American movies that he's done.
What, Drunken Master is really good.
So you're saying I should check out the Hong Kong flicks?
You should check out some of his Hong Kong flicks, because the thing about Jackie Chan is he gets really involved. Like he's like his own stunt guy.
Right.
So if somebody's jumping off of a train, that's really Jackie Chan. That's like his calling card. So there's not those kind of stunts, but if Jackie Chan had been in this movie,
right.
Who knows? We might have had some more outrageous stunts in this film.
I mean, honestly, if Jackie Chan had been in this movie, that would take it from where it is like cult status to probably like legendary status, because that's just like we talked about on Predator. If they had Van Damme in the suit, it would have just been that much more legendary.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't knock Dennis Dunn because he does really good work in this. He's hilarious.
Phenomenal job. I still would have liked.
It's just like Jackie. Now that you told me that, I didn't know that before we sat down to do this thing, and man, now I just want to see some screen tests with Jackie Chan or something.
Yeah, that would have been great.
We got Wang is saying he needs a chance to win his money back. He desperately needs to get his money back, which is kind of.
Yeah, we're really going to get into this scene right here because we're kind of
confused. Doesn't that make him like a degenerate gambler, though? He gambled away the money that he needed to bring his wife into the country. Or his fiance, he's like,
oh yeah, by the way, I got to go.
I got to get that money back. I just lost the mortgage. I just lost my wife.
Yeah. So this whole scene, Wang basically loses and everybody else loses all their money to Jack, and so Wang is like nothing to double. Like, I want my money back.
Right. I've only ever heard double or nothing.
Yeah, I don't know why he said nothing.
How that
or
wound
double.
up like that, but yeah, he's like, I bet you everything that I lost that I can like take this meat cleaver and slice right through this beer bottle.
And when he said that, I guess a little part of me was like, well, that doesn't sound like he can really do that. But I didn't even realize like what was happening, you know. So I can see where Jack didn't even realize what was happening. What?
And I mean, we later learned like Wang does have some serious sword skills, but I mean, I don't know that this is a thing that's possible, right?
Yeah.
Jack definitely thinks of it as like a sure thing. He's like, you know, all right, God bless you.
I have no idea. Like, this cannot, like, I would love to see like a YouTube video out there where somebody actually does the trick that Wang does in the movie.
I just want to see him try and like, just because the bottle would just shatter, right?
I would think it would just shatter, yeah.
Yeah. At any rate, like, I mean, this makes me wonder. So anyway, he goes to slice the bottle, right? Jack switches the bottles out because he thinks maybe it's some sort of a trick bottle or something. He's like, no, don't use that bottle, use this bottle. And he's like, okay. And then Jack's like settles in and he's ready. And Wang brings the cleaver down and the bottle like just shoots, like he hits it at an angle and the bottle flies at Jack, who just snags it right out of the air.
Looks like it's going to hit Jack in the nose or something like that. Or it definitely hit him in the face and maybe even knock him out. So we had talked about this before. Are Jack and Wang friends?
Well, that's where my first question, before we can even talk about that, is what was Wang's plan? Like, did he, like, Wang is a sword master. Maybe he's got some skills we don't know about, but it seems, I think we both felt like the plan was that the bottle was going to hit him in the face and he'd maybe grab a handful of money and run.
I think that Wang's plan was, I'm going to hit this bottle in Jack's face, and I'm going to not only get my money back, but I'm going to take his money too. That was his entire plan. And I feel like he's done this before.
All right,
like, this is not his first time doing that.
So we're in agreement on that. And now that begs the question you were just asking, like, how close of friends are these two?
They can't, like, again, the trouble of kind of doing this is we already know the entire story of the movie, but how close of friends could they possibly be if he's trying to knock him out with a bottle? And a bottle, not like chloroform
smash you in the face with a glass bottle,
spike in his drink or something like that. He's like, I'm going to smash a bottle in your face.
Right. You would think he could put some sort of chokehold on him,
or
choke
anything,
him out, like put him to sleep or whatever. But yeah, he's like, he's going to break his face.
Or, hey, look over there. And then he grabs the money and runs. Nothing. He's like, physical violence against his best friend.
So I'm wondering, like, are they like ride or die homies, or is this like a casual acquaintance and Jack's got a friend like Wang in every town?
I think that San Francisco Chinatown is Jack's regular route from wherever he originates. And I think he's probably been there several times because I know he knows Wang. He knows that Wang owns a restaurant.
Yeah, true.
They have that kind of rapport that goes like way back. Like, they didn't just meet recently.
Oh yeah, definitely they go way back. I'm just wondering, like, they can't be that close of friends if rather than explaining why he needs the money, he's just going to try to like smash a bottle in his face.
One of those. So I feel like it's one of those scenes that sounds cool. Like oh, this will be a really cool scene to film, but it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things. So it doesn't explain their friendship, but I guess you just have to kind of bypass that. And
truly it's a great moment for Jack because it's another moment that you're like, oh, this guy Jack, he can back it up. Like, he's talking the talk and he can walk the walk. You know, he's all in the reflexes or whatever.
It's like I guess it's our first glimpse at Jack being like more than just a regular guy.
He sort of seems like, okay, maybe he is an action star. You know, he's sort of got the moves. So then Wang tells him, all right, well, now Wang owes him double what he'd already lost to him.
Which was $1,048, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad you wrote it down.
Yeah.
Wang says, oh, I don't have the money on me. Let's, I can get it from my restaurant, but first I've got to go to the airport.
I'm just a poor Chinese boy.
I know. That's what I was wondering about that delivery. Like, I get that he's trying to do a bit, but it was just kind of like, I don't know.
Like kind of southern drawl.
Yeah, sort of. But Jack is not. He's like, I'm going to let you go to the airport. Yeah. Like, he thinks he's going to hop on the first flight to Shanghai or something.
Yeah.
Be gone. But he's like, well, I'll drive you to the airport because I'm not letting you out of my sight basically until I get my money.
Yep.
Which, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I $1,000 is a lot of money. I would drive you to the airport also, just to make sure I got my money.
Now, I think once Kurt Russell and Dennis Dunn get in the truck, like once we're seeing Jack, Burton, and Wang, is Wang Chi?
Wang Chi, yeah.
Like once we're going to see them sort of interact, just the two of them, a little more, like there is a lot of chemistry between the two actors. Yeah. Like they have a real good rapport. They're working well off each other.
I feel like that was probably an easy scene to film because they're just their flow is really good.
Like I do wonder, so I haven't seen enough Jackie Chan to see the type of actor he is. Do you think he could pull off just a straight dialogue humor scene like this? Did he have a heavy accent?
He had not only did he have a heavy accent, but his English is really bad.
Okay.
His English is really, really bad. So there would have been a lot of stopping and starting, and that might have broken up the whole flow of the film.
Can you imagine? They probably would have had to do that much. Jack would have had to do that much more talking.
Yeah,
like they would have had to give all the exposition and stuff to him.
Yeah,
to deliver. Maybe
like if you look at the outtakes of Rush Hour, for instance, like you can see where Jackie Chan, even at that point, is still really struggling with his English.
Okay.
So yeah, Dennis Dunn definitely. I think Dennis Dunn was probably born in California, so he seems
American.
Yeah, he's an American. I guess the fact that Wang and Jack have that kind of rapport with each other really sells the friendship, and it makes sense because it adds to what they have to do later on. It explains what they have to do later on.
Yeah, and I mean, from that scene, I'm sort of getting that Wang and Jack are like best of friends, you know? Yeah. Like, it seems like they're a lot more personal than they were in the alley.
I feel you on that. Like,
Wang's telling him he's telling him everything. Like, he's telling him, I got to go pick up my girlfriend, Miao Yin, from the airport. She's flying in from China. We're going to get married. He's like telling him all about how much in love he is with Miao. And Jack sort of calls him out. He's like, I don't know, you sound nervous.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more about the importance of the moment that Wang is willing to spend that moment with Jack. You know, like that's a really like the way he tries to explain it is he's been, busting his ass, like slept on the floor, saving every nickel to be able to afford to bring her over here. And so this is the moment. This is the day.
Yeah.
And so what's he doing the night before? He's
out
playing poker and drinking.
Losing the mortgage.
Yeah, playing poker with Jack. So
getting hammered.
Like, I don't, like, if that had just been like a regular old friend, I doubt that he would have, like, if he had just a regular friend and just rolled into town like that, I doubt that he'd be out there like that. But so it was Jack in town, and now he's like, well, I got to hang out with my boy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to lose all my money. But $1,000 is a lot of money. Even now, like, I wouldn't want to lose $1,000 right now.
Yeah, that's a good chunk of.
Yeah, and they were just basically having a lot of fun, and to a friend too. Like,
yeah. So at this point, like, all we've seen from Jack is it seems like he's that sort of swaggering, loudmouth, smart-ass hero, but maybe he's able to back it up. I mean, we haven't seen anything to the contrary yet. So it's a good open. They establish all of our characters. But all right, I guess that's it for this first episode of our Big Trouble in Little China. But check us out next time. We're going to be back. We got a lot more action for you. Things are about to get really crazy.
Yeah, this is where it starts to get interesting. All right, talk to you later.